What is up, Adam from Reactive Terrain. Yes, these are going to be some cool builds coming up in the, well, close future, because I've actually only got 3 weeks to pull these builds out of the bag. Now, the first build we're going to sit down and have a look at is a sled pulling truck. Now, last year I built a kind of scx24 kind of brass ladder frame, nothing exciting, nothing kind of crazy. Put a 3S battery in a weight box at the front and put a Gladiator wheelbase on it, and it acted really well. It pulled a lot more than I was expecting, which is super cool. But this year I'm going to be building something a little different. I do like things that are quite weird and quite custom, and I've seen this pop up in real life. Well, I think it's more of a concept. I'm not sure if it's been built yet, but it's definitely a concept that goes out there, and it's kind of like a pickup truck cab with 2 huge wheels. It's probably designed as a drag racer rather than a sled puller, but I'm going to build it and turn it into a sled puller. I'm actually going to be 3D printing my own tires in PTU. Are they going to work? I don't know, but look, it's one of those things. I can buy a set of Smasher wheels and I can throw them on the back, or I could buy the equivalent filament to print as many as I like and have a go at printing some tires. It doesn't have to climb up walls or do anything crazy. It's just got to get enough traction on the ground and pull a sled. So it's going to be interesting. I probably will take a set of spares just in case my first run doesn't go to plan with the 3D printed wheels. But I'm always in for a game. I've got to give it a go. Let's give it a go. All right, let's take a little look and see what we're dealing with.
Getting a few bits kind of based around just so I can, this is PTU tyres. I'm not sure they're going to work. They're really, I mean, they work alright on there, they grip alright on there, not so much there. So if we're on something like concrete or something like that, I'm not sure these are going to grip. I'm going to give them a test though. I've got a couple of little ones of these, or I might 3D print some little tyres, just like half the width of these ones. Hell, I'm already printing stuff, I may as well go all out. I'm probably going to redraw another box and have that connected into all the chassis that's already built into it. I'm just working on the solid leg posts for the axles on this. It doesn't have no suspension at all. Yeah, it's all a go. Bits everywhere, stuff everywhere. Looks like a robot. Look, got its little nose, its eyes and its mouth, and some little ears and its little beacon on its head. Me and the old dog working on the old bus.
Well, you say I'm working on it, I'm watching you. I'm doing a little bit.
Yeah, it's not very tidy. I need to have it tidy up.
You say that every week.
Yeah. Right. So it's all glued together, all bolted together, and the magnets are in place. scx24 gearbox underneath this little tray. We're just painting the body at the moment and printing some little bits for it. So we've got some mirrors, all the links I've designed for it. Right at the back corner is the front beam system, steering wheel, mag mounts, you know, the usual stuff. Not long to go, I don't think. Let's have a look. Oh look, 3 minutes left to go. Timed that beautifully. So I'm just going to keep throwing it together and see if it all actually does work. As darkness fades outside, we're still battling the bus. So we're just figuring out how we can get this front end to work. So I've got these double armed links, so it doesn't have, so it's a 2-link system basically, but technically it's a 4-link, if that makes sense. They basically mount top and bottom, so it holds the axle in position. Nice little beam axle, mounting the servo, gets mounted about here. And then we can figure out where the steering arm goes, and then we're going to go from the back of here. Once I got that located, I should then be able to, I'm going to 3D print a little kind of uplink riser up here, and then we can figure out what the distance is. And what, when I say we,
look, I'm just watching.
And we'll just figure out what size is. It does look good. These look good, but these are like 1.3s, and I'm not sure there's enough space at the front to do the steering. Not that it needs a lot of steering, it's a bus.
It's going to go in a straight line.
You have to do a 77-point turn every time you want to turn around. Or if you drive the bus into the campsite and drive the 4x4 off the campsite.
That's the one.
Right.
Put this out there that this is a monster. Like, it's 55 centimeters long. I scaled it up to meet the scx24 axles. It's going to be running rear drive, scx24 gearbox, and I didn't realize kind of how big this was until I started printing all these parts for it. It's not originally this big. I've upped the size of it, and yeah, once you kind of get this all kind of leveled up, this thing is enormous. Let's have a look.
55 centimeters of pure yellow goodness. Yeah, it is an absolute beast. I have primed and filled it, and I printed it in yellow anyway, so that there's yellow underneath it, or yellow where I don't spray, so that I don't have to worry too much about inside. And then all I've done is just flattened it off. Now, we're not having it absolutely pristine. I have, as you can see, just taken the corners off a few bits, just made a few little chips, nothing too kind of heavy wearing, but it's you know, it's a bit worn, it's a bit weathered. It's an old school bus that somebody's going to be turning up to a trail with a crawler on.
And that brings me to the chassis. I've tried to keep as much as the model as possible. This is a die cast model or cast model. So underneath the chassis, you do have all the exhausts and everything like that. So I've had to kind of edit all the front end up to be able to take an scx24 axle, although that is a custom axle. It mounts exactly the same as an scx24. It's just free running. No pumpkin, so it doesn't clog up and get kind of underneath the engine. And then we've got the rear axle attached to the skid, which is in with the chassis now. Start making some relevant edits, especially in like alignment and stuff like that. I'm going to pull these wheels out about 4 to 5 mil just to bring the wheel in line with the arch. And the same with the front. The front actually is pretty good. I've just got to make an edit to add the servo in, because it's not going to fit where I was hoping it was going to fit. I was going to try and get it on here, but it does seem to foul on the wheel when the wheel's turning, which is a shame. Not that it's going to be doing much turning, or, you know, it's kind of just driving along, but I do need it to work pretty well.
I love using these pots. They look like little tiny skips, and the way this is full, it looks like it's a skip. So we're mounting a winch on the rear so that it can pull the vehicle up and down. Tiny little servo for the steering, nothing too big. It doesn't need it. Bumper. I've got a 1/10 light kit that G-Dog's brought, just because, you know, he doesn't like me, and I've got to try and find all room for all that. And he also decided to do one of these, which is a 1/10 sound kit, which is absolutely enormous. On top of that, we've got a few bits of interior and some seating, and well, the list goes on and on and on. And somehow I got to get this all done. Now I got 14 days left. 14 days to have this pile of parts, chassis working, and it all done, painted, decored up, all looking absolutely fantastic in just 14 days left.
On top of that,
I've also got to get the sled puller done. Now I have made some progress. Like I say, I'm using the old style C10 and I've made a cockpit with a flat bottom and just put the skid plate vertical to house the gearbox and a 370 motor. Now this has a really tiny, I mean, look at this. That's an axle. That's my front axle. And this has no suspension whatsoever. It's all done on the tires. That kind of bolts right up close there. But I am going to actually just change this one slightly. I haven't really got a lot of room anywhere to put the servo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a plate coming off the front axle and mount the servo on the front axle with some uprights and some bracing. And then also coming off of that plate will be bars to take the front weight box as well. So I've still got a ton of work left to do. I just made these basic angles that take the rear, hold the rear axle in place as well. So they'll hold it. So it's all rigid. The whole thing is absolutely rigid. We're just going to rely on I've made some 3D printed deep barrel wheels and smasher tires. So you're going to have two of these kind of set up. I did 3D print some tires wherever they've gone, which they look fantastic. They're big, they're beautiful, but there's no traction even in PTU or PTG, whichever one's a plasticky PTU. But even still, make great drifting tires in all fairness, but not very good grippy sled pullers. And I've probably got about 10 to 15 mil set at the bottom to raise it off the floor, and it'll have a slight drag race, so it'll be kind of sat about there. So we've got almost like a bit like a tractor style, but in a truck, and then the front wheels sit right up inside the arches so that this kind of sits nice and low. I've also printed this lovely little supercharger with a blower on top and exhaust and that. This is going in the sled puller, so I'm going to cut a hole in the bonnet. I might be a little fancy, I don't know, rather than just a big square. I might do something a little different. We'll see what the flow takes me when I'm doing it. There's not really a lot kind of to show because I'm kind of just editing parts and bits that I'm finding and kind of slapping it all together to make something cool. Mounting the servo on this bus there, there's a few options. I could kind of put it in the cab somewhere. I don't really want it on the axle because I don't really want it showing. So I think what I'm going to do is just basically mount it right in there. This fits quite nicely in there. And then I can kind of drop it flush through the chassis. Very easy when you're trying to hold a camera. Through the chassis, up into some mounts, and then bring an arm down to pick up the steering arm. So I think what I'll do is incorporate that into the final print, make these a bit stronger. If anyone's going to use this carbon fiber PLA, my advice is do not use it for anything mechanical. It's super brittle. It's not overly strong. I mean, it's strong if it's printed thick enough. I use PLA plus ST super strength, and I have not had hardly any issues with that product. This is all done in super strength. It's really strong. It's not brittle. These look great. It looks really nice and it's really clean, but it's very brittle. Look, I mean, it's just, yes, look, it's ridiculous. So don't use it for mechanical parts. It's great for pretty parts, but not very strong. Alright guys, I'm going to show you a little technique that I use to kind of just add a bit of age, but not kind of heavy patina or heavy rusting or anything like that. Normally if I'm doing a flat color, I'll use a color from these guys, Speed Paint. So this is enamel, these are acrylic, but you'll notice on the bottle, depending on the base is depending on what color you're going to get. So if you're painting a yellow, you're going to get kind of a yellow effect. So what I've been doing is just taking a little bit of it and just kind of washing it underneath like the trim, just like that really. Okay, just under there like that, and then just taking a kitchen towel and just wiping it excess off, adding a few little deep spots and kind of just clean it off and then leaving it. And it's very subtle, but it kind of just adds these little faded patches. This is an old school bus, it's not shiny and new, but we don't want it like really heavy patinaed. We're going to be doing the same with the roof. You can just see these slightly different color patches, and with this all I'm doing is kind of taking the paint on it and just massaging it into an area, just to kind of add a slightly different yellow. And then when I lacquer it, it will give this real kind of subtle faded areas or slightly brighter areas, but all of the same color. Just adds a bit of age to it without kind of going heavy patinaed. So I really like this technique, works really well. So you can see it a little bit better now as it's dry, and you can see it's just this kind of mottled fading technique, I guess. So you'll have like original color yellow and this slightly duller color yellows and different patches of yellow where it's just been left out in the sun. So you start off with your base yellow, and like I say, these are what I use to do this. They do a wide range of colors, so you can pretty much match blues, purples, reds, greens, whatever you want really. And yeah, I'm just going to do the same. You know, I kind of fill inside around the lamps and stuff. I will be spraying the lamps black with silver inserts, like the arches and the fade points, just kind of like the bonnet. If it's been left out in the sun, it's going to have these kind of weird sun patches on it, especially if it hasn't been washed or buffed for a while. Sometimes you just get it wrong. Not sure why. This is just a clear auto lacquer over the top of a enamel. I've never had it react before this bad. Occasionally you get the odd reaction, but there's obviously something that they don't like together. It was cleaned. Well, there we go. So that's put a bit more put a bit more pressure on this project.
Right, so we're checking in on the bus and a sled puller build. So I'm going to spin the camera around and let you know where we're at. So it is Monday night, and this has got to be ready by the weekend. And I've not only got to finish the Ninja Goat that goes on the back of it, but I've got pieces everywhere, stuff everywhere, dogs everywhere. And I still haven't even kind of tested or even got any electronics in the sled puller. Just wired in, just plugged in to make sure that this sound box works, which yeah, seems to work really well. So, and we've got forwards and backwards on the gearbox. Let's turn that off because it's really noisy. So yeah, we're going to hide this somewhere in the magnets, somewhere inside the cab. I might actually put the sound box underneath. There's quite a lot of room. Oh, maybe not, because it doesn't actually clear the. It won't clear. Well, actually, it could go that way. I'll have a look. Servo's mounted on the front, so I just got to make a link to go between the steering arm and the servo. And then it's a case of kind of buttoning down all the body. Woo! Nearly my toes. And oh man, it's a mess, this place. Look at this. This is what happens when I'm building stuff. I just get everything. I've got so many projects going. It's just ridiculous. I got the printer blaring away. Yeah, so I'm going to get all the electrics in place, and this is we've got a winch as well. So yeah, plenty to muck around with and kind of sort out. Winch isn't too bad. It's actually on a little on and off switch, which I'm probably going to keep and put it underneath the body, just so you can remote it, as well as if we wanted to, we can do it on the remote as well. The only thing I'm not sure I'm going to have time to get
in might be the lights. The lights is the last thing I'm going to put in. If I get a chance, I might be able to get a few in and, you know, kind of just hide the rest somewhere for now. Yeah, go from there. But I need to get all this on so that I can get the interior in and see where we're going. And then I need to get the body on and mounted, get the engine printed and get that in place. And then I think maybe we'll get there. Right, so it's Thursday night and kind of just got back in from work and finally got to sit down, and this is where we're at. Like, I've only got tomorrow night because I'm working tomorrow. So the sled puller, haven't tested it yet. Well, that's a lie. I have fired the motor up. This all pushes this. I've just printed the new brace bar for there, which is on the printer. So that'll stiffen all that up and get the wheels on that, and then I can figure out how I'm going to do this steering. Not that it's got a lot, I don't really need it, but need a little bit, so it's got a little bit of steering. Body is kind of painted. I just literally done that, threw some paint on it, cut a big hole in the bonnet. Nothing pretty at this stage. it's just kind of get it done. I'll dress it all up once, if I've got time. Got to figure out how I'm going to keep this body on. At the moment, it kind of sits nicely in place because it kind of sits with this plate. But I do need to kind of figure out how can I get that on with the body on. Nope. Yeah. Big blower, big stack. I still got to kind of get a little bit of paint on that at least. Ooh. Stay there. At least try and get some paint on that. I'll probably, so it kind of sits like that. That needs to be mounted up closer, so I've got to get a screw in the top. It's enough for them to get a little screw just to grab that, just so that doesn't pull down. Like I said, still be working at the 12th hour. Kind of a little bit further forward. This is all set up now on the rear, so that's all ready and rocking and rolling. Just sorting out the front servo. There's no room in the front when I put this big ass engine in, so I've had to glue the servo to the body. So we'll see if that holds up or tears itself apart. I don't need the steering, it's only going in a straight line. The Ninja Goat's pretty much ready. I just put some rear shocks on it, and G-Dog's here.
Good evening.
Trying to well, supervise at the moment.
Because
supervising, and then we'll get these two wrapped and done, and then we're going to finish the last few bits on the bus. Electronic wise, this steering's I think going to be pretty straightforward, just a horn and an arm, so that's quite a quick fix. Got a little dry brush on the engine to do, and just kind of situate all the electronics that we're going to get in it for tomorrow, and that's it really. We're almost there. So I had to put some foam, big foams in the front wheels because they were a little saggy, but that sorted that out. They've done wonders actually. So plenty of definitely wobbles like a big bus. And then we're going to put the Ninja Goat on there with a tyre racks and wheels, and we're going to brace it all or strap it all up so it looks super cool. Yeah, old Bernie thinks it's all going to go up in smokes.
I'm hoping.
He's open. Guess what, G-Dog?
Ah, disappointment.
No smoke. Because the boy knows what he's doing.
Even the crowd's disappointed.
Yeah, sorry.
Sounds like someone's taking a wee in the back.
Take weeds anywhere.
So we're down at the shack today, just having a little play, doing some photographing, modding the track, changing the track, and yeah, we are actually going to see if the sled puller actually works.
It's going to be worse.
Because we didn't get a chance to do it at Polyapes because...
they chickened out.
Well, no, but there was nothing going on. The weather was terrible. There was nowhere really to do it, so it didn't really happen. So I borrowed their sled, and I'm going to test it today out here and see if we can pull some weight.
No, I'm not sitting here.
The bus is, you know, the bus did exactly what we needed it to do. It was a real good talking point to understand. Yeah. We're just down here today. There's definitely some modifications that need doing. I think it was a bit ambitious trying to build this thing in just a few weeks. But I mean, it works.
It went forward, it went back, and the winch worked.
Yeah,
that's all.
It doesn't really go side to side that well. No. We've got quite a small servo on it, so I think we're going to swap the axle maybe back to an scx24 instead of just a beam axle, and mount the servo on the axle. It's got a lot of weight. I think that's why I underestimated how much weight it's got to have to try and pull around. But other than that, I mean, it's absolutely working fine. We've got to put some foams in the rear tyres because we've done the front, but we haven't got enough to do the rear, so we've got to get some foams because they are just literally and falling off the rim. But other than that, this thing is super cool.
Yeah.
It's all right taking it home, but it's sitting there and doing it.
Well, I don't want to break it.
All I hear is excuses.
I like my bus. It's brilliant. I've got a few bits to do, but yeah, I'll get them done.
I've got a few bits to do. G-Dog won't do it. All right, so this is what you've been seeing in this build video, this monstrosity. No, the body is not attached still. Like I say, I was building like 3 rigs in 2 weeks, including everything else, and it was pretty ambitious. But today we are going to see if this thing will actually pull a sled. I'm going to make sure it's all working, kind of duct tape the body down, and let me show you what we're pulling. What did you just do?
Put the kettle on.
What does the kettle do?
Make tea.
What else does it do?
Make a noise.
I wonder if, like Marvel or Universal Studios or any of these film production teams have a G-Dog on there. If you do, not that they're watching the channel, but if you do, let me know how it gets on.
Everybody has me.
Okay, so this is the sled puller that we're using. This is what I pulled last year as well. The great guys at Polyapes, or Simon Polyapes, has kind of lended this to me. They don't really use it, so we're going to get plenty of use of it down at Reactive. So yeah, hopefully we can get some people interested in doing some sled pulling when they're down here doing some crawling. Now, I know this company doesn't make these anymore. I don't think they're around. So, you know, I'm not really sure exactly where it come from. We are going to change a few things up. Me and Simon are both into agreement that the kind of wheels and tires need to kind of change. I'll probably just create a hubcap that connects into here, so it just maybe just keep a chrome rim, but you know, a black center maybe. And what we're also going to do is put the cab on the back of this as well, so it looks a little bit more realistic, a little bit more scaled. But other than that, it is super cool. And if you don't know how a sled works, well, basically you strap a big, heavy, powerful truck to the front, and you place some weight in your weight box, and as this travels along the course, the box moves forwards, bringing the weight closer and closer to the front slide, making it harder and harder to pull. And basically, the truck that pulls the heaviest weight the furthest distance, well, is the big ding dong. So this is basically geared, it's geared down like 3 or 4 times to be able to handle the amount of weight you can put on here. It is fiberglass. I'm not too sure what type of weight we're going to be able to get in it. But first of all, we need to fire up the sled puller and see if it's actually going to work. The doctor will see you now. So I've resorted to duct tape and cable ties. I think that's the only way forwards. The good news is it does go forwards and backwards. Well, it makes a sound. Oh, did. So, we got power. Don't use that one. That's not connected. Man, these lights are causing me tons of problems today. Maybe I got up here. Is that better? Yeah, we don't get much glare off the lights. Okay, so we're going to
It's actually the pit lights today that are causing the glare today. So we're going to see. Luckily, this thing doesn't need to go left and right because it doesn't have very much left or right steering.
You're right there.
So I'm just going to get that all straightened up, and then why that's going like that. Oh, it might be a trim adjustment, and then we're going to pull the sled without any weight, make sure it works, and then we're going to start loading it up with everything and anything we can find.
Okay, so we're all shackled up, nothing in the bed. We're just going to make sure everything is kind of moving. G-Dog's been doing some scientific weighing. Yes. Oh, he's just going straight out for it, are you? No,
Well, it'll pull that.
No easing me in it.
I think.
What we got? What are they?
These are 300 grams each.
So that's 369 grams.
Okay.
No,
we'll just put one in there.
So the last sledder I pulled, the last sledder I made was 4-wheel drive. So this is just rear-wheel drive. A massive difference, big difference. Probably would need like tons more traction and power. The only problem with this is that you have to turn the wheels backwards to allow it to reset. But we'll just keep going. We'll keep putting the weight on and see if we go. I thought that the carpet would give us a bit more grip. Actually, the carpet's quite slippery. So, yeah, a beta, a concept. If I need to make it 4-wheel drive, then 4-wheel drive I will be. But I'm definitely building a permanent designated sled puller. Whether this is it or whether I decide to do something a little bit more crazier, who knows. But it's definitely going to have to be 4-wheel drive to stand any chance, maybe. But let's put more weight on it. So we've just done 300 grams. Now we're doing 600 grams.
It's pulling it. I just haven't got the traction. The wheels are just spinning and spinning and spinning. We need to sort that out. The other thing that's a bit different to this sled puller and the last one I made is that this is probably a lot lighter than the one I made before. It had a brass ladder frame in it. This is all 3D printed, so it's probably a lot lighter. So I think we need to get a little bit more weight on the cab to be able to pull more weight. We're going to give it a go with 900 grams plus the trailer. And then we're going to put a bit more weight in the actual sled puller.
Yeah, it definitely pulls it, but I'm still just spinning. I think we need to get a little bit more weight. So we'll keep that weight. I'm going to put a bit more weight on the rig. Yeah, that'll do it. 600 grams of lead. Let's see if that makes any difference. Make sure that's in the right place. Yeah, we're good. Right. Massive difference. Finally got all that traction down. So it's official. The rig is way too light. We're definitely going to have to put a lot more weight in that, which then leads me to believe, how much weight can we pull? Let's find out. That lead weigh?
We'll have a look. Full.
A lot. Right, okay.
Can't really weigh it.
Yeah, it's okay, well, let's have a little. Well, if that's 600 grams, this is kicking into the realms of, this is close to nearly 2 kilos, I think.
I'll tell you what, let's do it. You can do it properly. Just get a rock and do a couple of rocks on there, I think.
Well, I don't think you'll get the weight on them. That's the problem.
No.
No. This is definitely. I mean, we could trim it down and measure it separately.
Yeah, we might have to. Yeah.
But that's a big bit of lead.
Yeah. Let's trim it down.
Well, wait, well, it pulls it. All right. Well, let's do this properly then. Not the easiest things to see, but you've got 1650. This is 1370 and 700. So that's 2 kilos. 3 kilos 10. So that's 3 kilos 710 grams. Well, that helps it a little bit. And then I've probably got now, with the battery, the print and everything else in there, and a 600 slab of lead on top of that. So that's probably creeping up to, you know, close to 900 grams as a rig as well. Plus the trailer. Well, let's see what it does. Oh no, the lead fell off. I reckon it's still got enough in it, but I gotta do it from, I gotta stop and go again from a harder weight. Oh no. No, that definitely didn't do it. Right. Okay, so it wasn't anything too bad, and it seemed to pull that relatively well. Definitely struggling a little bit more weight. It started to bounce a little bit, but we're going to throw some more weight on it because I think we just doubled or nothing. The G-Dog's just found another lump of lead, and it pretty much weighs similar to what the whole thing, which was nearly. So that's probably, I reckon we're close to nearly 6 kilos now on the back of it. That's not got enough weight on the cab to pull that, I don't think. That's a lot of lead. All right. Oh no, that's just spinning. Oh no. It's got it. Gonna have to move that lead. Ah, it's gone. Go Tillishy blokes. That's the drive shaft gone. Definitely going to need to put a metal axle and drive shaft in it. Well, it pulled it. Oh, yeah, it smells good in here. Smell-o-vision, baby. That got warm. Let's see what we did. Okay, well, I didn't actually break the drive shaft. It just kind of pinged off. Although it does look like it may not have any teeth left inside. So that could be kind of why it's doing it. Let's just lift the hood and see what's going down in the world. Well, that definitely got warm. Alright, but other than that, I think we're still working. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to put a metal drive shaft between there to pull that, but it did it. I mean, that's 6 kg, and kind of got halfway down the track. Oh my god, that is heavy. Before it pinged, but I reckon if I could keep that weight going and that thing, I would have got it further. It was still just about moving. Definitely struggling with traction. I don't think you can pick it up on the camera, but you can see these big, thick water tire marks in the carpet. But that is pretty impressive. So the rig itself is 632 without the lead weight, and that's what we were kind of needed. We needed that back weight back on it, and that pushed us up to 1220. So a kilo and a couple of 100 grams. But I'm curious to see exactly how much we managed to move. How much did we actually pull before it kind of went a little loose? We're just doing the maths now. Let's have a little look. Okay, so 1750. This is all in pounds. Plus 1085. Plus 700. Plus 1370.
1370.
I can't see this one. Plus 1170. Plus, it says 1650. Oh, it is 1655. 1650. So if you are in the 124th scene pulling lots of weight, let us know in the comments below what your type of records and what type of things people are pulling, because it'd be interesting to see what comparison and where we're at with the rest of it. I just said to G-Dog, I reckon I could probably get this to about 10 kilos as a pull truck. And I tell you what, we're not far off it. That's close to 8. I need another 2.2 kilos on it, and we got ourselves a 10 kilo pulling rig. Holy moly, man. That is insane. We also forgot to add this too. So
Expect me to have it there then, mate.
yes, G-Dog,
Well,
come on.
You weren't ready and I weren't ready. It's always Lee.
7. We'll just round it up to 770. Green button. All right, so it's still there. So 7725 plus 1190.
90 equals.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you put the rig on that as well, which the rig is carrying nearly a kilo of weight, that whole combined thing is 10 kilos. That is insane. So converting it to pounds, including the actual puller itself and the weight that was on the puller, it's ranging about 19.9 pounds.
That's a lot of pounds.
That's pretty impressive. And I reckon if I'd had a metal drive shaft, it probably would have pulled a little bit more before it gave up. It was only the fact that the plastic drive shaft gave up.
Yeah.
So definitely, obviously we had to put a bit more weight on it. So we almost doubled the weight of the rig. Just to get the traction down, because that wasn't the problem. I could not get the traction of tires. Tires would just spinning. So
stick a lump of lead.
Yeah, put a bit of 600 grams of lead on top. That made a massive difference, and we were able to get this thing pulling some seriously good weight. And I still think it's got more in it, but that's going to have to be another video. There you go, the bus and the sled puller and all their glory still both got a lot of work to go.
A lot of work.
And yeah, I mean, the sled puller is a bit of I'm surprised that did as well. Yeah, being all 3D printed, I knew it was going to lack a bit of weight to it compared to the last sled puller I built. Like I said, that was a brass tube chassis.
Monster.
Yeah, you got to put the weight down. You're going to put a lot of power through them. They need a bit of weight and a bit of substance, so didn't really cause too much damage with it. Definitely going to need metal axles, metal drive shafts, not a metal axle, although metal axle probably wouldn't. I've got a brass axle. I might put a brass axle in the back, on the back as well, because that'll help the weight on the back end. And really, I'm just going to keep pushing that thing till that's starting to lift, because I didn't get no lift.
No, you didn't. It's a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
And regarding the bus, I think I've got to work on the front axle.
Yeah, we're going to swap that out for an scx24, just standard. We were trying to hide the servo, but actually
it's not.
We don't need to.
Yeah.
You can't really see it, so it sits fine. So we're just going to swap out the one I 3D printed and just put a standard in there. And then we're just going to do some trimming to allow the slightly bigger wheels to kind of sit inside the arch.
Yeah,
nicer.
and stick some lights in it.
Got all the lights to put in it.
Lights.
Yeah, got to get the lights in, which means the secondary battery as well. And
we got the room.
Foam in the tyres.
Foam in the top. Definitely, because they're a little bit wobbly.
Yeah, absolutely. But there you go. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you smash that subscribe button.
Oh, hit that like button
And the notification bell. And I'll see you next time.